everyone, it's your girl Robin Shockley with Focus Forward Robin on the go, because you never know where I'm going to be. I'm here today in Greenville, South Carolina, downtown at Cleveland Park, and I'm with Miss Tiaresa Brown. Yes, I'm so glad that you decided to join me today because you come on the Voice of Vision and Truth podcast today to share your story, your Pit to Purpose story. Now, this podcast is not about business, so we don't come on here to promote the businesses, but we do come on here to promote the truth. So whatever your voice is to share about your truth, this is a free platform that I give back to the community. And I met her at a community outreach event last weekend with Brother Travis Boyd, Minister Travis Boyd, and she heard me talking and she asked me, she said, she tapped me on my shoulder and she said, do you have a podcast that I can tell my story, because I've been praying for an opportunity to share my story? And I said, girl, yes, you can come on. So we did, and somehow or another the video footage got lost, but you know what, nothing happens by accident, because we got together again today to do a remake of this story, and I'm telling you, she's willing to come open and share more than what she shared last weekend. So I thank you, Miss Tiaresa, for being on the show. Thank you for coming on here to share your platform and your message about what you feel about domestic violence and how people can choose to focus forward to make changes in their life. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, yes, my name is Tiaresa Carter Brown, as Ms. Robin said, and I was in a very domestic, bad relationship early on. I got married at 16 years old. Okay. I had my first child at 17, and I had 2 children after that from my ex-husband now, but with my husband at the time, and he was very violent, and I went through it. I was depressed. I felt like no one else in the world would ever love me, because that's what he told me over and over and over repeatedly. And then also, I grew up without my father, so I wanted my children to have their father in their life. Until one day, my youngest daughter had to write an essay in school, and I didn't realize they was witnessing the abuse, or they realized what was going on, because I tried to hide it from them. And in her essay, I just happened to read it the night before she took it to school, and it was saying the hardest thing I ever had to live through was seeing my dad hit my mom. And I pray that she's able to get out of this.
So did she ever talk to you about, I don't mean to interrupt you, but did she ever talk to you before she wrote that story?
No, ma'am, never. And I never knew that they were aware of what was going on until that very moment. And then that made me realize, I'm like, Lord, I have got to get out of this, because I don't want them to think this is the way that a man is supposed to treat you, although this was their father. So I knew I had to make a change. And through prayer and praying, I was delivered without, honestly, being killed. And it's a miracle I'm still here today, because he's pulled a gun on me twice when we were together, threatened to kill me. I actually ended up going into the military to get away from him. And that
How old were you?
I was 23 at the time.
23.
Yes, ma'am.
So you went into the military to get away from him?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Because he told me, he said that he would kill me and sit in prison between his mother and my mother. He knew the kids would be taken care of. And so I'm like, yeah, I have got to get out of this. Wow. But, it was a difficult time. But I say this to any young woman or man that's dealing with domestic violence at this time: get out as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. And yes, they tell you, no, I'll never hit you again, or I won't be abused again. Don't believe it. It does continue.
It continues if they don't seek counsel, if they don't get help.
That's true.
Because I do believe that people can change. I do believe with the proper counsel, but that don't mean you got to stay with them. Get out. I remember my former pastor used to say, you need to hire you 2 men and a truck and hit that road. Let him figure out his issues on his own. You may still love him, you still may care, and you think you can save him. Yeah. You can't save a man who doesn't want to be saved, guys or ladies. So, and even with guys, because guys go through this issue too, and a lot of guys don't come forward. I have actually had the opportunity to meet some men who have witnessed, or not witnessed, but actually been a part of domestic violence where I have one friend who had his eye knocked out. So, yeah, by a woman. So, he's come on my regular show to tell his story before, my Focus Forward Robin show. So, you know, we do know that it's for men that this happens to them too. So this broadcast is not just to talk about just what women go through. It's for all people that have actually experienced domestic violence. And this is definitely not a show that's going to ban men, that talk bad about men, look at men downward, or anything like that. This is just to bring awareness and enlightenment to get out and to get help. So your solution was to go into the military. Once you saw that paper that your daughter had wrote, you said, you know what, I can't keep hiding anymore. I gotta confront this. I gotta face this issue head on. And so you joined the military. So tell us a little bit how that happened. Did he let you just leave on your own, or did he try to stop you? Or
No, my mother went and picked up the kids after he pulled the gun on me. And she told me to stay hidden for the next 2 weeks until I went into the military, and that's how I ended up, getting away. Okay. And even then, I would call home every day and tell my mother, I said, I want to come home. And she's like, no, you're not coming back here. You're not coming back. And I really and truly believe that is the only reason that I am still here today. Wow. Besides, the grace of God also. Okay.
So was this the first time that you've ever experienced domestic violence?
Yes, he was my first time experiencing domestic violence. And it started off, with just the grabbing and the shaking. But then it ended up with the black eyes, broken ribs. I had... He broke a Coca-Cola bottle and threw at my leg. I have a big cut on my leg, had to have stitches on the inside and the outside. So, yeah, it was very bad.
Well, first of all, I'm very sorry that you had to go through that in depth. That's pretty, anybody that gets shoved and pushed, that's still bad.
Yes.
But to go to the extreme of having the experience of what you went through,
yes, ma'am.
I'm very sorry for you for that.
Well,
but you know what? You are a bigger and better person because of it. You're taking your pain and you're making purpose with it. And that's what we're here to talk about, is coming from the pit to the purpose. So you were in the military. How long were you in the military for?
6 years.
6 years. Now, did you end up having more relationships or anything after that?
Yes. And I always said, as the Bible says, do not judge. I end up in another abusive relationship. So at that point, I realized there had to be something inside of me that was going on that keep ending up in these type of abusive relationships. So yes, I have gone through therapy, and that relationship, he was even a little more violent than my ex-husband, and he wasn't my husband. We were never married, but yes, he was just horrible, and he would do all types of things. And,
like what?
Yeah. With him, it was broken ribs. I would come home, he would be hiding outside of my house. I had to get a protective order. He still violated that. And
Tiaresa, I want you to really help
Yes,
us
ma'am.
understand, because like you said, you had to go through counseling, you had to get through healing, because you're not on here just to tell a story
No,
of
ma'am.
what happened to you. You're here because you want to make a positive impact. You want to help other women that may be younger than you, or even your same age, or even older, that could be experiencing this today, and that's what this platform is for. What is it that you can say that helped you that can help somebody else? Because in somebody's mind, and I relate because I was in that, I've dealt with this. So, but for the person who has not ever dealt with this, for that man who judges, or that woman that judges, I would get out, I wouldn't stay. Well, unless you've been in it, baby, you're not gonna know what it's like to be in it, So what would you say to the viewers that are listening to this? What could be a solution? What could be helpful to escape, or to start a new life, to get away? What was that breaking point to say, enough is enough,
Yes, ma'am. I think in my case, it's always been prayer that really brought me over. But it also, you have to get to the point where you say, I love myself more than this individual. And yes, in my case, it was for he. So I would say, he cannot continue to treat me this way. I will not allow myself to be treated like this. That I am worthy to be treated without being beat, without having black eyes, without having broken ribs, without, having to try to hide my face from my coworkers or my children. And that was the most shameful part. And then I will say this much, that another part that helped me through it was my coworkers, because in the second domestic violence relationship, he was degrading. So it was like you're ugly this, you're that, and never worked, and always trying to make me feel like I was less.
Do you think okay, let's back the track. Were you surrounded by positive, influential people or women, so to speak, that were speaking into your life during these times that you were being mentally abused?
No, ma'am, I wasn't personally, but I had my coworkers who would invite me out to their homes, and they would be speaking life into me, and by that I mean they were telling, hey, you are a good mom. Hey, you're doing a good job. You're doing the best you can, even though, I was raising at the time one son by myself. And it's like, you are a positive role model. So my coworkers are what lifted me up at the time. And then also I had a best friend that she currently lives in Atlanta. And, she was very, very, very supportive. And, she even told me, you need to tell your story.
And that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about Tiaresa's story, about what she's been through and how she overcame it, and what her solution is to change. And you said some key points. You listen to what your coworkers, I believe in sowing seeds. Sow where you want to grow. Get yourself connected to people that can speak into you, invest in you, and serve somebody that's been through something. Maybe there's somebody that that has overcome, maybe some kind of public figure or minister or just somebody that you look up to. Get connected to them. Find out how you can serve with them. Find out how you can build upon them, because the more you are connected to people, you're going to start believing in yourself. That's what happened with me. I started getting involved in the community, and I started learning about, oh my gosh, this isn't the norm. I have people speaking into my life. This is not the norm to be put down and called names, and that's not common. But we make it common. We accept it. So I thank you so much for coming on the podcast, the Voice of Vision and Truth podcast. It's a platform where you can come and share your story. What is your pit to purpose story where you want to give hope to the community of giving back? All right. Thank you again so much for coming on. If people want to get in touch with you and have you come and share your story to be an enlightenment and hope to somebody, how would they do that?
Yes, you can reach me by email at TEB, B as in boy, Carter002@yahoo.com, or on Facebook at Tiaresa Brown.
All right. This is your girl, Robin Shockley, with Focus Forward with Robin on the go, because you never know where I'm going to be. Remember what I always say, if you think a thing, you believe a thing. If you believe it, you will achieve it, just like my girl, Miss Carter, is doing here today. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Do you have a story to bring positive impact of change to the next generation or even this generation? Contact your girl, Robin Shockley, on all social media platforms to tell your story on the Voice of Vision and Truth podcast.